Thank you, Dana.
The head of the FBI updating the House Intel Committee on the recent spikes in terrorist threats against the U.S. following the Hamas attack on Israel. Director Wray warning the risk of a terrorist attack here on U.S. soil is at its greatest level in nearly a decade. Ohio Congressman Mike Turner is chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, and people are very concerned about this, especially when the southern border has been open for so long. We know about all the gotaways, but we also know that over 170 people on the terror watch list have been caught this fiscal year alone. Do you believe that the administration has a good handle on this in order to keep Americans safe?
Absolutely not. Director Wray is certainly doing a great job in trying to respond to the increased threats and certainly get the word out. He appeared before the Senate last week indicating that the terrorist threat was the highest in a decade, and then yesterday he briefed members of my committee, the Intelligence Committee here in the House. And what he said is there are individuals who are affiliated with international terrorist groups and organizations that are here that pose a risk for attacks in the United States. He also cited lone wolf potentials of people who are sympathetic with Hamas, Hezbollah, and ISIS, but also that these organizations and groups are calling for attacks. He did specifically cite that the border situation itself, that the open border, people are coming across it who represent a national security threat, that has not been controlled, and that those individuals are not located within the United States, pose a risk and a threat for international terrorist organizations and attacks right here in the United States.
So, sir, we listened to two brothers yesterday. They have a family member held hostage. And I'm just going to quote him. He said it's a wake-up call not only for Israel, but also for the United States and for Israel. He said, you are next. We got it? Okay, hang on one second, sir. We got it queued up. We can go ahead and roll this now from yesterday.
This is a wake-up call, not only for Israel, not only for the Jewish community. This is a wake-up call for all of you here, all of America, all of Europe. You are next. You are next.
Is he right?
Bill, certainly the threat is the highest that it has ever been. And when we, around 9/11, our problem was that our intelligence communities were not communicating. We didn't see the threat as it was emerging. And then after 9/11, we learned, we put in place counterterrorism efforts, had our intelligence communities tracking and communicating among each other. What we've got today, though, is because our border is open, so many people who are a national security threat have come into the country that it's really almost impossible for everyone to be tracked and all the threats to be followed. Director Wray is doubling his efforts with both the FBI and working in conjunction with Homeland Security to try to track these people down, to thwart their efforts to actually execute an attack. But the risk is high, especially with what Hamas has done in Israel and the conflict that is currently going on there. The outrageous attack that occurred really has spurred, I think, an unbelievable level of hate and calling for attacks in both Europe and the United States.
Are they able to keep up with the social media posts that are there's so many of them, and we know that's where a lot of this anti-Semitism is flourishing. And if you post one video on TikTok that gets a lot of likes, the likelihood of you posting another one goes up. So there's so much of it out there. And are they able to get a handle on the bad stuff?
Well, they certainly attempt to track those that represent a threat. But as you just pointed out, it's very difficult because of the volume and really the prevalence today of this hateful and threatening speech that's occurring online. But the other aspect is that we have people here in this country who came illegally, who represent a national security threat, and just trying to track them down, understand what they're doing, and try to thwart their efforts to hurt people in the United States, to undertake a threat in the United States. That's where they're really struggling.
All right, so what Wray said is that the FBI has, quote, multiple ongoing investigations into people affiliated with Hamas. So it's on.
Absolutely.
Yep. And where it leads and where it pops up is something we await. Sir, thank you for your time. Mike Turner, the Republican from Ohio. Thank you. On this note now, Dana,